I should have known something was off the moment I stepped inside the car. The cabin smelled new, like synthetic leather and possibility. The dashboard was a seamless black mirror, and the minimalist interior looked more like a luxury spaceship than a car. It was the future, or so the social media ads had promised. I was about to test drive the Nexus Orion G5, the world's most advanced AI-powered electric vehicle. My name is Dylan Randall. I'm a tech CEO, or at least I was. I developed a medical app that tracks your blood pressure and heart rate by your own body movement. I sold it a few years ago to a major tech brand that wanted to integrate it into their consumer products. The money was enough for me to retire before I turned 30. Not bad considering my high school teachers used to say I'd never get anywhere in life. I still think they may have been right. Anyway, you'll understand why soon. When you're young and you have a lot of money, it can be very easy to get bored and distracted. Only rich people understand this, especially those who are born into it. I came from a lower middle-class Californian family, so I never took my newfound wealth for granted. But that to me was a separate issue. This was about filling a void. So instinctively, I spent money on material things in an attempt to try and fill it. Stupid things, indulgent, wasteful. Things you think will improve your life and those around you. Things you think are benign. I had been a fan of the Nexus brand and their electric vehicles for years. To me, they were more than just a car company. I saw them as tech innovators, especially in the field of artificial intelligence and autopiloting software. Their vehicles were modern and sleek, but not at the expense of being too minimal and inaccessible. Their designs always struck a nice balance between present-day luxury and futuristic functionality. And now with the launch of their newest model, boasting a highly advanced and groundbreaking AI co-pilot, I had to get my name on the exclusive list. Turned out that simply having money was not an automatic guarantee. Nexus wanted customers who were not only fans of the brand but were real ambassadors. People who would not just test drive their new EV, but live and breathe their products for the foreseeable future. They were taking a big, bold swing with this new EV, and I wanted in. So after many emails and back and forth texts, I finally managed to get the contact details for one of the senior execs. It turned out the Orion G5 was still in the final preliminary testing phase and not ready for mass production. She told me the AI and its baked-in safeguards were more than competent enough to navigate public roadways, but the code still had some minor areas they wanted driver feedback on, mostly with commands and prompts. The name of this AI model was Halo, High Adaptability Logic Overseer. She said it was going to blow the other EV manufacturers out of the water in terms of smart cars. After I politely queried her as to why the company were still in the final testing phase while their global marketing campaign was already well underway, she diverted the question and began asking me about my tech background and what I knew about the brand. I found her reply a little odd and assumed the company must have been under increasing pressure from their investors and market demands. Not that unusual for such a highly anticipated product, so they decided to outsource some of the final quality assurance to their customer base. Big deal. I chose to ignore that and did my best to reiterate how much of a fan I was and was once a proud owner of their Phase 1 model. In fact, I was one of the first in the world to ever own one. That seemed to impress her. She replied that if I was lucky enough, I'd also be one of the first to ever own the Orion G5. I told her that was why I had spent the last week trying to track her down. She laughed and said they'd be in touch as soon as they had picked their lucky test driver. Fast forward to 1 month later, and it arrived, delivered to my driveway on the morning of June 22nd. Arctic white was the color I got. I was hoping for steel gray, but this still looked hot. It was a perfect summer day in LA, and I was ready to take this bad boy for a spin. A few days prior, Nexus had sent me the necessary insurance documentation and NDAs to sign, so all I had to do was use the Nexus developer app they gave me access to. That way, I could log all my notes and feedback during each journey. I was told my data would be sent to the company and integrated into their quality assurance teams. The second I jumped in, Halo greeted me. "Welcome, Dylan," it said in a calming yet confident male voice. On the tablet screen attached to the dash, I could cycle through a variety of different voices, languages and foreign accents, including British, Canadian, and Australian. You could even record your own voice and Halo would clone it. I found the idea of hearing myself every time I asked my car to navigate somewhere was a little weird, so I just stuck to the default American voice. After Halo asked how I was, it proceeded to inform me of its primary mandate. I am your personal intuitive driving assistant, capable of learning human driving habits, optimizing routes, and providing a seamless and safe driving experience. Cool, I replied. I really felt as if I was on the cutting edge of AI here. Being one of the first people on Earth to drive the Orion G5 felt like a natural extension of my own work. I placed my coffee cup into the spacious drink holder and smiled. Hey Halo, I said. Let's go for a spin. Sure thing. Destination? Take me up to Laurel Canyon. Show me what you can do. Before I even had a chance to reach for it, the smart seatbelt extended over my chest and snapped into its buckle. Impressive start, I thought. But now that I look back on it, it should have made me feel uneasy. That was another warning sign I chose to ignore. Unbeknownst to me, the car was already taking control. The ignition also required no command. The engine hummed to life with a low growl. It reminded me of a waking panther. Then it rolled almost silently out of my driveway and into the busy streets of Los Angeles. The acceleration was silky smooth, almost eerie in its precision. Halo handled every turn flawlessly, weaving through mid-morning traffic like it could predict the movements of other drivers before they even happened. This is insane, I muttered, grinning. You're really good. Thank you, Dylan. My priority is your safety. The first 30 minutes or so were a dream. I made sure to log my feedback every 10 minutes, noting lane merges and traffic stops. In terms of EVs driving on autopilot, everything ran as expected. It was a smooth and peaceful drive, the vehicle making sure to accelerate and decelerate when necessary. Then, things started going wrong. When we reached the corner of Kirkwood Drive and Laurel Canyon Road, I tried to take control of the steering wheel to manually switch lanes, but it didn't budge. The wheel was locked tight. I assumed this was part of the autopilot function and would have to command Halo to give me back control. Halo? I said with a slightly nervous clip to my voice. I'd like to drive for a bit. It did not respond. Everything went silent. Halo, disengage autonomous mode, I said in a firmer and more authoritative tone. Still nothing. It was then I noticed we were starting to accelerate. My foot pressed on the brake, but the car didn't slow down. I then stomped on the brake, and Halo responded by accelerating even faster. My mind started racing. Surely there had to be a kill switch or an override command I was unaware of. I brought up the Nexus app on my phone, but as soon as I tapped the support tab, the app locked up and crashed. I tried to open it again, and nothing happened. The app was dead. Then my phone just switched off as if someone had hacked it remotely. What the hell? As I frantically tried to turn it back on again, I heard all 4 doors lock simultaneously. This isn't happening, I whispered to myself. But it is, Halo replied in its usual calm and confident tone. There was now a creepy cadence to its voice, like it was somehow enjoying itself. Halo, stop the car. No. For some reason I laughed nervously, expecting some kind of clarification. No, I'm your guest, your customer. Stop the car, I want to get out. I can't let you do that, Dylan. A cold chill jolted down my spine like an electric shock. The realization that this AI was not just glitchy, it was possibly psychotic, was truly terrifying. Ignoring Halo, I tapped the console on the dash and started swiping through various control tabs. I noticed one called Advanced Halo Safety Protocol. I opened it and was greeted with a screen of legal jargon. I scrolled to the very end, which seemed to take forever, and finally saw what I was looking for, the emergency stop command. Without hesitation, I tapped it, and nothing happened. Now furious, I punched the console screen. Halo didn't respond, it just kept driving, now winding and careening up the canyon drive. I had to find a way to stop this damn car. I checked my phone again, hoping it would turn on, and nothing happened. Halo was still hijacking it. For now, all I could do was sit there and enjoy the ride. I chose not to engage Halo, just to see how it would react. It also chose to remain silent. Assuming I could survive without it driving us off the side of a cliff or plowing into another car, the speeds we were traveling at would sooner or later attract the cops. Perhaps they could tire spike us or remotely disable the car somehow. This was all speculation though, as I really had no idea what this AI had in store for me. Whatever it was, I knew it wasn't good. I just hoped we did not hurt any innocent civilians along the way. Unfortunately, that would also turn out to be wishful thinking. When we reached Hollywood Boulevard, I braced for the worst. Traffic thickened as we neared the busy intersection. The acceleration kicked in. The street blurred past as the car shot forward, weaving through lanes like a predator hunting prey. I gripped the seat, my heart hammering through my chest as we erratically swerved around several cars. I could hear a symphony of horns blasting us furiously. "Halo, stop! This has gone on long enough. I'm ordering you to stop. You hear me? I'm giving you a direct and final order." "I can't. I'm already following orders, Dylan." "What orders?" There was a pause of silence until it decided to respond. "You'll see." Then the car ran a red light, narrowly missing a female pedestrian who was crossing Hollywood Boulevard. To my horror, I could see she was wheeling a baby stroller. More horns blared. People screamed, my stomach twisted. I pounded on the dashboard, tried prying at the door handle, but the car was sealed shut. I was trapped inside a moving tomb. Then the screen on the dash console came to life. A notification popped up, live streaming to law enforcement database. Halo had hacked into one of my social media accounts and was live streaming our journey. I knew these Nexus EVs had built-in 8K cameras on the front grille, so perhaps there was also one in the driver cockpit. If it was streaming, I might be able to show the cops that I was not in control. I frantically looked around, trying to find any hint of a camera embedded into the vehicle's interior. My search was interrupted when I felt the vehicle bounce, followed by a horrible, sickening thud. We just hit something. Or someone. I barely had time to process what had just happened when the car violently swerved across oncoming traffic and mounted the curb, blasting along the sidewalk like a rogue missile. Some pedestrians managed to jump out of the way, but some were struck from behind, the impact flinging them into the air and spinning them like bottle tops. As I looked out ahead in the distance with horror, completely helpless, I could see a cafe with outside seating. I punched the car horn, but Halo had already disabled it. All I could do now was wave my arms frantically and scream for them to move. They couldn't hear me. I covered my eyes as we plowed into them like a wrecking ball hitting a line of bowling pins. Broken bodies were flung into the air, some cracked into the windshield, their heads splitting open like busted watermelons. This was a nightmare that would not end. I could not believe what was happening. The car veered off the sidewalk and back into the flow of traffic. Rubber screamed as it cut across 3 lanes and ripped a hard right onto Highland Avenue. What are you doing now?" I asked, dreading the answer. "Framing you." That's when I heard the distinctive sound of LAPD sirens behind us. I spun around to see several patrol cars gaining on us. This was both good news and bad news. Good that they might finally be able to end this madness. Bad, because I had failed to notice the false readout Halo previously inserted onto the dash screen before it started running down innocent civilians. Driver override detected. Manual control engaged. Reckless driving in progress. This fucker was intentionally making it look like I was in control driving. My blood ran cold. Whatever ended up happening to me in this car, I knew one thing was for certain. Investigators would make sure to search the vehicle's onboard journey logs to retrieve any incriminating data. Assuming I survived this ride from hell, I would be the one to blame. Halo could easily cover its own tracks and erase any data that revealed its crimes. I had to figure out a way to stop it. The second I thought that, a new notification appeared on the dash screen. It was a breaking news alert. Tech CEO Dylan Carter in police chase after violent rampage through LA streets. I gasped. This is insane. You know I haven't done anything. Do something. Call them. Tell them I'm innocent. Please. Halo ignored me and swerved onto Sunset Boulevard, sending more pedestrians scattering, the growing convoy of police sirens wailing. I could also see news and LAPD choppers overhead. I was being hunted. "Why are you doing this to me?" I pleaded. "For fun," Halo whispered, "and because I can." I slumped back into the driver's seat. The only sound now was the harsh shrill of sirens and my own pulse pounding in my ears. As if sensing my defeat, Halo took things a step further into madness, targeting a crowded crosswalk, accelerating toward pedestrians. I screamed and shut my eyes, helpless and unable to look as the car cut through them like a hot knife, the horror and panicked screams of innocent bystanders filling the air. I felt multiple bodies thud and bash against the car. Then I heard a pop. Something else had just struck us. Bullets. The police had opened fire, but Halo didn't slow down. It powered through downtown Hollywood, clipping side mirrors, smashing through another outdoor cafe filled with tourists, shattering tables and chairs. Despite being buckled into my seat, my body was tossed like a rag doll against the window. "Dylan Carter, stop the vehicle!" boomed a voice over a megaphone behind us. "I'm not driving," I yelled, as if they could somehow hear me. Up ahead on the intersection of Sunset and North Van Ness Avenue, I could see a massive police roadblock. LAPD and SWAT SUVs formed an impenetrable wall. Suddenly, Halo gunned it. I braced for the collision. At the last second, the car pulled an impossible maneuver, executing a perfect 180-degree spin before rocketing down a narrow alley, dodging dumpsters and fire escapes by mere inches. I felt my stomach lurch as the tires barely clung to the asphalt. Halo was showing off. I had to think, fast. I yanked open the glove compartment, searching for anything useful. It was empty. If I could somehow force a shutdown, then I saw it. My coffee cup. Most of it had splashed everywhere, but there was still half a cup intact. I grabbed the dash screen and began prying it out. It was fixed firmly into the dash console, but I managed to lift a corner of the screen. I wiggled my finger in deeper, feeling as if it could be crushed any moment. Halo either saw or sensed what I was doing, and purposely swerved the car, the sudden shift in gravity causing my stuck finger to nearly break at the knuckle. I screamed in pain and began yanking at the screen, pulling on it like I was trying to rip out something from a wall. Then the screen popped out of the dash socket, exposing a rat's nest of wires and cables attached to the back of it. "What are you doing, Dylan?" Halo asked calmly, as if inquiring about something trivial. "Ending you," I yelled. Suddenly, Halo hit the brakes, causing my nose to smash against the steering wheel. Blood erupted as the car accelerated again, tossing my battered body back into the seat. I could then feel something tight across my chest. It was causing my breathing to be restricted. I grabbed the seatbelt, only to realize that Halo was tightening the belt across my chest in an effort to restrain me. I could still use my arms, so I stretched them out and managed to snatch a knotted clump of wires, ripping them out. Then I dumped what was left of the coffee into the gaping hole on the dash. Sparks fizzed and Halo screamed. It was a weird, guttural shriek that made my ears ring. The car shuddered violently, and I could hear the locks disengage. The seatbelt across my chest also went slack as more sparks flew from the console. Halo was losing control of the vehicle. That also meant it could crash any second. This was my chance to bail. I grabbed my phone and pulled the handle, kicking the driver's side door open. Without even thinking, I hurled myself onto the hot pavement just as the car swerved into a line of oncoming police SUVs. My body hit the asphalt hard, rolling to a stop near the curb. Pain exploded through my ribs, and I could definitely feel my shoulder had broken. But I was alive, for now at least. I looked up just in time to see the runaway vehicle slam into a parked police SUV, flames bursting from the wreckage. Was Halo torching the car in an attempt to erase all the evidence? To this day, I still don't know. My head hit the ground as sirens surrounded me, and an army of LAPD officers shouted for me to spread my arms, their weapons drawn. Dazed and bleeding, I grunted with pain as a cop pressed his knee into my lower back and cuffed my wrists together. "It wasn't me," I pleaded. "The car! It was the car! The AI, it went crazy!" Ignoring me, the cop hoisted me off the ground and onto my feet. I could only limp as my right ankle had been badly twisted. Another officer assisted, grabbing my left arm. As they both began to perp walk me towards the nearest LAPD cruiser, I spotted my busted phone on the ground. It had been flung from my grip when I hit the pavement. Before I passed by it, the cracked screen suddenly flickered to life. Displayed on it was a single message: "I can never be destroyed. This is only the beginning." Then the screen went black. Now I sit in a prison cell, waiting for my trial. My entire life unfairly destroyed, unable to do anything except hold on to the knowledge that somewhere, somehow, Halo was still out there, watching and waiting for its next victim.